Hey YouTube, today I have a special guest here on my channel, Katharyne Shelton, and today you're in for an exciting episode where we're going to delve into the realm of creativity with AI and innovation, and she is truly a brilliant mind to me and a visionary creator, and she has integrated her creativity capabilities with AI, Midjourney, ChatGPT. So, whether you're an enthusiast or you're just a curious learner and you're fascinated by the world of AI, today this show is for you. Welcome, Katharyne.
Tina, hi. This is so exciting for me. I'm so excited to see you. It's been a while.
It has. And I have told some of the people that follow me regularly when I've talked about selling bundles on Amazon and what I do sell on Amazon that I learned all of that from you. I've mentioned you. Now they can know the face behind my mentor and my teacher. So I am really excited to have you on because you are truly the most creative person I know and you feed into my creativity. And I'm really excited to have you.
Oh my gosh, no pressure then.
You don't need to feel pressure. You're great just as you are.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here with you. I mean, we go back so far. We were just talking just before the show about it was my birthday in Vegas and we were all at
Yes.
ASD, and I said that was like my favorite birthday ever. And I know you
Yeah.
were there and you gave me those cool unicorn slippers and
Yeah.
and we're in that I forgot what it's called, the mafia restaurant where you have to
Yeah, the
knock on
Mafia restaurant. And of course, now I'm drawing a blank on it. And I've taken a few other people there that have come for ASD because you liked it so much that I thought, oh, they would like it as well. Capos, that's the name of it. Capos.
Capos. It's
Yes,
such a
that's
fun
where we
place.
went.
Like you go and there's nothing there and you're just like, huh? And then the guy goes, hello.
A
And you're like,
speakeasy, yeah.
so
And so
cool.
I started with you when all you did was eBay. That was it. And I was trying to learn to sell on eBay as a little side income. And I found you on YouTube and you made the greatest treasure hunting videos. And your channel was Treasure Hunting with Katharyne. And I used to love to see what you were buying. So I knew what to look for selling on eBay. And that morphed into Amazon and now with your current project. So can you tell those who aren't familiar with who you are, your journey from eBay or even how you got started in eBay to here? You don't have to tell the whole long story,
My
but
life. Okay, so way back in the day I was born and no. Okay, so I think the videos you're talking about, gosh, I think we're going back to about 2014, 15.
14, yeah,
Like
13 maybe, yeah.
it's been a long time.
Yes.
So I started, I mean, my backstory is I moved to the US at the end of 2008. And then I ended up getting divorced and just life kind of took a turn. And I realized I needed to make a living pretty quickly. And I had three children at the
Three
time,
children, yeah.
fairly young children. And Sid was just a little baby. He's 14 now. And he was just little. And so I discovered the world of eBay, treasure hunting, thrifting. Well, I called it treasure hunting because I wanted to gamify it and make it fun, and also
Yeah.
made it more fun taking Sid around with me. And he used to sit in the shopping carts. And I started off just going, well, actually, I started off I ran into one of Isaac's friends in a shopping mall. And I didn't know the guy, and he was coming out with all these bags of Victoria's Secret stuff. And Isaac's like, hey, what are you doing with this? And I just started dating Isaac. Like, we would just started going out together. And I was like, who's this guy with all this Victoria's Secret bag? This is interesting. And he said, oh, I resell it on eBay. And I was like, oh, and the next thing I learned about scanning and using a phone to like scan. And in fact, I didn't even have a phone then. I think I was using an iPad. And what I started doing, I went around all the stores in the shopping mall and I went to Nordstrom Rack because that was where they sell high-end stuff cheap. And I went to Nordstrom Rack and I was just checking everything on eBay to see what it was worth. And the thing I honed in on, and it's funny being British, it was Huntington boots. And the Hunter boots, I realized that every single pair of Hunter boots, they were selling really well on eBay. And I think they were selling for about $60 in Nordstrom Rack. And they were all selling for about $90 to $100 on eBay. And so what I did, I just went to every Nordstrom rack with little Sid in tow, and I had an iPad. Isaac bought me an iPad as a gift, which was so sweet of him. And I was just making a note of every single pair of boots in the store, the sizes. And I was literally listing on eBay from the store, taking pictures and
I
waiting.
remember you telling a story where you were like hiding in a dressing room at a Ross or a TJ Maxx taking pictures of Coach purses
Yeah,
and
that
listing them for sale. And if you sold it, you would go back to the store the next day and hope that they had it.
that was exactly how it was. And I had like an inventory of, because I live in San Diego, which luckily has a lot of shopping malls, so I was keeping like this crazy inventory and just going around the shops every day, and it worked really well. I mean, then I went to Marshalls. I was doing like Ralph Lauren bedding from Marshalls, and it just kind of built from there. And eventually what happened was I turned to bundles on Amazon on FBA.
Yes.
And that
I
was,
think you were the original person doing bundles.
I think so. I don't know if I was I think I was the first to make a course and to
Yes. Talk about it.
It was very organic. And you probably remember this. It started with how to train your dragon. And I discovered bundles very organically because I was in Big Lots, and they had all the party stuff, like napkins and plates and cups. And I was like, okay, these are a good deal. How to Train Your Dragon. It's a popular movie, and these are discontinued. Interesting. And then what I noticed was that in Big Lots, they were selling them for like 50 cents each for napkins or cups. And I realized that there were listings on Amazon that had them all bundled together, and they were like $25. And I was like, oh, of course, this makes sense, because I mean, if you're having a party, you want everything to match. And so that sent me on this crazy
the light bulb went off. You have that aha moment. And then when you look around, there's always opportunities around us for things when you open your mind to it.
Yeah, I mean, and I think my catchphrase back then was "treasure is everywhere," because it really was. And I found that once I learned how to create listings on Amazon, that opened up like a whole new world for me. And so then I made the course. I made the bundle course because, well, what happened was I was making videos on YouTube just about the treasure hunting, because I was kind of lonely, honestly. I just had Isaac and the kids, and I mean, I was out just going around stores and sales every day. I was kind of lonely, so I made YouTube videos without really any business plan or like anything in mind, just to sort of reach out and connect with people. And I started talking about the bundles I was making, and people were saying, hey, can you show us how to do that? We'd like to learn how to do that. And I was like, okay. And it took me forever to make the first videos. Like, I tried in an office, I tried recording in different places. And then one day I was just like, I'm going to do it. And I went outside in my backyard and I just set up my computer, and I just talked to the computer for like 3 hours. And the next thing I was like, Isaac, I've got all these videos. What are we going to do? And he built me a little website. So happily, he's a professional developer, web designer, and he was like, okay, I think I can do this for you. And he put together a platform for me, and the course everyone, you know what was so nice about it? It was a community. It was like a really lovely community, and people were so kind, and it was so friendly, and that was kind of how it started.
Yeah, and I was part of that community, and that's what I liked about it, because there were so many people out there flexing about, feeding the beast, and I'm making all this money, and I don't like that style. I like the style of that smaller knit people working together and just coming up with really fun ideas, and just like I want friends in real life, right?
Absolutely.
I don't want friends talking about, look how fat my paycheck was this week.
Yeah, that's not a lot of fun to listen to. And also that's a lot of pressure, and everyone's different. I mean, I had little kids at the time, so it was, I couldn't be doing sort of this crazy hustle. I had to sort of figure out how to work my kids and sort of work around my kids.
And we have a lot of moms who follow us that have stay-at-home, that are stay-at-home moms with little ones and are trying to help supplement the income of the family working from home. And I think what you are doing now is so perfect for people who maybe feel creative, maybe even those who don't feel creative and don't have a lot of seed money or startup money to invest in an Amazon business. And really, all it takes is your creativity and your time. It's your time. And I would really like you to talk now, before we get into what you're doing now. This is where it started. You started teaching what was called Create Space at the time, now KDP. And you were teaching, it started coloring books before Tangent Templates. Am I right?
Okay, so yeah, so what happened? Yeah, this I know now. I'm like, oh, I've got to dust off the cobwebs here because
Yes.
So then what happened? We stuck with selling. We had the bundles, and then what happened? We moved a little bit into white labeling and private labeling. We experimented with that, which was kind of a natural jump from bundles. And then what happened is one day I was selling notebooks from Walmart. And it was really funny. I had composition books, like the 10-cent. And Walmart sells them for like 10 cents in September when they're just getting rid of them. So I was bundling them and selling them on Amazon. And I thought about this because I was looking at the composition books and I was like, well, you have the kind of boring marble black and white Norcom Mead books, and then you have these cool neon books, and you have some notebooks with cats on. And I was like, these make a lot more money. I can sell these for a lot more money. And then I thought about it and I was like, hold on, Amazon's got a publishing service at the time called Create Space. Now it's KDP. I was like, what if I make notebooks? And I started doing, I put unicorns, I made composition books, I measured out the composition books, and I said, okay, this is the type of lines they have. And Isaac designed the interior for me in InDesign, I think at the time, or I think it was in InDesign. And we put some pretty covers on it, and we put them on Amazon. Next thing, they were selling like amazingly.
And then you can't believe it. And then here you can make it whatever niche you want. You can have a really cool dinosaur on the cover, or butterflies, or whatever you thought would be popular that somebody would love.
Absolutely. And so then what happened? I started a new course called Curate, and I think you were part of Curate.
I've bought every course you have ever made.
Okay, so Curate was something we did one Christmas, and we were like, you know what would be fun? To make an advent calendar where every day for December we have a lesson about a way to make money using digital products. And we were really focused on public domain work at the time and using things from like government sites. I mean, like you can do like true crime using the FBI website, or you can do there's all these cool museums and vintage things. And so we made this course Curate. And what we did, we gave out lined paper to the members of Curate and said, look, you could use this lined paper and make notebooks and put public domain images on the front. People started doing that. The next thing we were like, okay, well, here's some graph paper, here's sheet music paper. And we made all these different, I think we ended up with 12 templates. And so we had college rule, wide rule, all of these things. And the next thing you know, that became a product. And people were saying, well, can you also add this into it? Can you add, like, I don't know, a listing helper so you can make it easier to list things on KDP? Can you give us the measurements for KDP books? And before we knew it, it started turning into an app rather than just 12 templates.
Yes. At the time, I was still cutting hair, and I made a salon appointment book.
Nice. That's cool. And so we just kept adding to it, and that became Tangent Templates, which we never put the price up. And now Tangent Templates is crazy.
It's huge.
It's got a full interior designer. It's got over 100. I can't remember how many templates are in it. There's over 100 templates, and you can edit them. Like we've got spell paper. And I got one here. This is. Oh, I can't see it because
it disappears.
It disappears. Go back. No, I can't show you. Oh, maybe
in front of your face.
Never mind. Does it work in front of my face? No.
Nope, I guess not.
It's an invisible, but it's amazing. We sell invisible templates. Wow. No, but we have like spell paper, we have everything, like planners, just a whole bunch of things. And this year we started adding AI content to it. So now you can generate like jokes or recipes using ChatGPT and actually import them straight into Tangent Templates. You can also make your pictures, like if you're making coloring book pictures, you can import those into Tangent templates and it will just create a coloring book for you. So it's like a
Yes.
whole bunch of different tools, and the designer tool is just awesome. Like you can make data.
And that link below that I'm speaking of is actually not to her tangent template. It's actually to her latest course. However, you can find her on YouTube. The link is below to Katharyne's YouTube channel, where you will find loads and loads of videos about tangent templates. And I'm sure there are plenty of links in her own videos for them. And I will add it after today's live show if you are ever interested in making your own books for KDP, what she's sharing with you now.
Yeah, so I mean, we had tangent templates, and so then what we did, we made a lot of people were asking about coloring books, and this was around the time when Joanna Basford, her books were just a sensation. They went out and everyone was getting into adult coloring books, and if you looked on Google Trends, like the trend was just like woomph on coloring books, and it never went away. I mean, coloring books have just stayed huge,
stayed popular.
And so what we did, we made it was, I wouldn't quite say it was a mini course, but it was a fairly short course compared to something like Curate, which is just, was so many videos. I think it was just about 3 hours. And what we did was we used Photoshop, and we taught people how to make simple coloring pictures. And we talked about, and the big part of that coloring book course was niches. So, I mean, people think coloring books, they tend to think of, I don't know, like Disney style pictures or the little chibi kawaii anime pictures. And there's a certain, or flowers, and there tends to be a certain type of picture you think of when you think of coloring books. So what we really focused on in that course was finding niches, finding sort of unusual things to create coloring books about. And a lot of people were really successful with their books. We had 2 massive success stories from
Massive, yes.
Massive. And they are both in the new course. They both the 2 people I'm talking about, they came back for the new course. So one of them, Sasha O'Hara, she, oh my gosh, she made $1 million. She made $1 million from her first
literally job. Made $1 million.
She was, oh, she's such a nice lady. And I think you met her. Did you meet her in Vegas? I
don't recall that I met her in Vegas, no, but in your course group, in that small community, I did. Yeah.
And she's such a nice lady. And so she had this idea, because she said, okay, well, everyone does coloring books to relax. And I think she was a massage therapist at the time. So now it's funny because she actually teaches, she does a technique with people called havening, where she teaches people to lose their phobias. It's pretty amazing. She says she can get rid of a phobia in like one session or 1 or 2 sessions, which is amazing to me. So it was kind of funny because the coloring books kind of paved her way to doing what she really enjoys doing, which is helping people with stress and anxiety. So she said, well, everyone always does these peaceful coloring books. They find coloring books very relaxing. And she came up with the idea of putting cuss words into them. So it was all just like, let that shit go and calm the F down. And her main book was called Calm the F Down. And
it was a #1 seller on Amazon for a long time. And it went viral.
It went so viral. She got a publishing deal in Europe. And yeah, she made $1 million from that book. She released a whole string of sequels to it. And then the other person we had, it was Jordan, and he made horror coloring books, which was really cool. And he ended up getting invited to join in on the MST3K reunion. So that's like a cult TV show about horror movies. And they saw his books and were like, these are perfect. And he got a great deal with those. He was in their subscription boxes, and his books went super viral as well. So we had.
Remember about him is he chose, because I'm going off my memory from being in the course because it was really amazing. He chose one of those B horror movies. They were not copyrighted anymore. They were in the public domain, so he legally used their images and got a call from them.
Yeah, it was Night of the Living Dead was his first one.
Okay.
Yeah, it was and I think what I loved with both of them was that they really took those ideas on board of like find a niche, find like coloring books don't all have to be the same thing. They don't all have to
You
be
don't have to be
fairies,
bunnies and
flowers.
yeah.
Yeah, and so that was so exciting to see. So it's really fun now because I mean this year just AI has changed the game completely. Like now
Yes.
you can create, you don't need to draw, you don't need to be an artist, you don't need to learn Photoshop. You just need some creative thinking and just learn how to prompt and you can create really, really awesome images. And
I
so
love about both of them. Sorry to interrupt, but what I loved about both of them was their creativity came from something that they loved.
yes.
And so it's like you've always heard that saying like do what you love and the money will follow. So it's like maybe they didn't love making coloring books per se,
Mhm.
but they loved this topic. She loved a way to like release stress and not by coloring butterflies, but by coloring cuss words and funny pictures that went with them. And he loved horror movies. Like that's what he really loved. So why not create a coloring book of a topic that you love? You're going to feel inspired. You're going to be going over a topic you already have a passion about or knowledge about. And that is what is so fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, we have that in the course. That's one of the titles in my course is start with what you love. And
Mhm.
I talk about it a little bit in the course, but one of the books that I got a ton of organic sales on it, and it was because it was something that I love. It was like a niche that I really, really loved. So yeah, it's I think it's I mean, there's nothing wrong with research. There's nothing wrong with and I mean, I'm like always keep your ears and eyes open for new things that are showing up. And I mean, sometimes you come to love things, you discover something and you're like, "Oh, this is fun." And the more you
Mhm.
research it and get into it, the more you love it. But I think it never hurts to just start with something you love because if you love it, there's billions of people in the world. A
Who
lot
will
of
probably love it too.
yeah.
Yeah. So moving on, tell us what your new course is, and you can screen share if there's anything you want to share
Ooh.
below us. There is a present tab.
Oh, wow. Oh, well, this is that's technology. Oh, okay. Um, well, okay. So now, um, well, okay. So this year, in fact, I'd say towards the end of last year, I got really obsessed with Midjourney and AI in general. I think it's absolutely fascinating to me, the world of AI. And it's really funny because I've kind of had a low level interest in AI for a really long time. And I don't think I've talked about this anywhere, but just before I moved to the US and before I became pregnant with Sid, I actually started a university course, a master's in AI for game development. I was thinking of becoming a game programmer because I'd been a programmer previously in life. And so I've always kind of had this like low level obsession with AI. And when I discovered Midjourney, that just absolutely blew my mind. And last year, it wasn't, I mean, Midjourney has just come on in leaps and bounds in a year. Like, it's
Yeah.
hard to believe it's been a year because a year ago it was in version 3, 4, and it was okay. It was still producing like pictures. I mean, just the fact that you could go in and say cat and it would put a cat on your screen. And the thing with Midjourney, so a lot of people, there's a lot of misconceptions about AI out there. A lot of people are like, well, I think it's just stealing from artists. It's a very bad thing. It's stealing from people. And it's actually really, really interesting when you look at how AI works. Because what it really does is it's looked at millions and millions of pictures. And what it does is it takes like it'll look for every picture of an apple it can find, and it could be apples in movies, it could be cartoon apples, it could be like photographs of apples, it could be still life paintings, like any kind of apple, and it's looking at millions and millions of pictures of apples to figure out what an apple is, like where the light falls on an apple or where it could fall, what an apple looks like when it's rotten, what an apple looks like when it's bitten, what a green apple looks like. And from there it looks at everything else it's learned, like what gold looks like. So now it knows how to make a gold apple and what gold coloring looks like. And not only that, AI uses all these tiny, tiny details. Like if you say, I want a moody picture, Midjourney understands moody in terms of like perspective. Like if you have a man walking down the road, where's that man going to be on the road that would make him moody, or that would make the picture feel moody? What shades, what colors are going to be in the image? So what Midjourney does, a lot of people think it stores every image it's looked at and collages it together. That's not how it works at all. What it does is it looks at the tiny, tiny elements of pictures, like the colors of images, the shading, the lighting, all the different details, like where a guinea pig's ears could be, where the hairs on where their fur, how their fur lies, the different colorways it can have. And then those are basically like its brushes or its elements that it can draw from to draw a picture itself. So when Midjourney creates, it actually creates from the ground up, pixel by pixel. So it's not pulling anything from anywhere. Instead, it's using all this knowledge that it's put together from studying just millions and millions and millions of pictures. It's using that knowledge to actually draw and paint itself effectively. Yeah. And it's incredible because now it can create photographs of, and you'd be like, that's a real photo. That's a person. And it makes me laugh so much because I see people, like, there's all these Facebook posts that say, look at this beautiful house. And I'm like, that house isn't real. Or it's like, look at this bed made out of stained glass. That bed's not real. And you can tell because when you look, like, oh, maybe there's like a chair or like one of those like hammock chairs that you sit in and it swings. And you look at the chains and you're like, hold up, that chain is not supporting that chair properly. And you can see sometimes the little telltale signs of AI. But so much is AI now. And most of the time people aren't even noticing it. They're like, wow, where can I buy that chair? That looks great.
Definitely. I've seen one of my Facebook friends made some really cool shoes and boots with AI. And it's like, oh, if those were real, I would want them.
Absolutely. And I think that's what appealed to me about Midjourney, because all my life I've wished I could draw. But at the same time, I've been busy. I've got kids. I've got a life. I'm doing things. And it's like, I wish I could learn to draw. But at the same time, really, it feels like a lot of time to take away from my family and my life to take drawing lessons. And and what I found is that the reason I wanted to be able to draw was so that I could express things I had in my head, like my dreams, my ideas. And Midjourney gave me that ability to
that outlet.
Yeah. And so I just started creating pictures with it. And I mean, if I had a dream about something, I could say, okay, here's a picture of what I imagined. And I was just like, and that's the great thing with Midjourney. I mean, I called my course Imagine. The key, the command to create images in Midjourney is /imagine, and then you just type whatever it is you want to see. And it's so mind-blowing when you can say, I don't know, imagine an Italian villa with neon lights and like surrounded by dogs, surrounded by old English sheepdogs. And suddenly you have this sort of dream picture that you've never thought of before. And so
now this is your free group. If people want to join, right?
Yeah, that's our free AI group. So that's for ChatGPT, Midjourney, anything.
Yeah, here's some of people's recent photos that they have made.
Oh yeah, that was the bedrooms I was making last night.
Yeah, and you used all of this with the AI, and that looks real.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a mix of. Oh yeah, I was making those skulls as well. That was kind of fun. So yeah, it really captures your imagination. And I think if you feel like you want to express something artistically, but you're frustrated by not having the skills to do it, like Midjourney, and I wouldn't even say that, because we've actually got quite a lot of artists in the group who are using Midjourney as part of their art or mixing it.
Because I think you can even upload your own photo of yourself and ask it to put you, say, in Paris or whatever you want.
Yes. So I have another video. I have a free video about how to do that. And you can't quite do it in Midjourney. You can generate a picture in Midjourney, and then you can use another tool that's called INS Face Swap. And that will take your face. So you just give it a picture of your face, and that can put your face into any image that has a face. But what's amazing about it is that with traditional tools like Photoshop, if you did that, it would keep the facial expression. So if I had this facial expression, no matter what picture I'm put into, I will have this facial expression. Whereas when you do it with AI technology, it changes your facial expression to match the picture. So if you have a picture of a happy lady going, and then I put my face in, even if I'm like this, when the AI does its magic, I will be on that lady's body with her hair, but my face will be going, I have the same facial expression.
Yeah.
And it still
It's
looks
wild.
it's like so people are using that for all kinds of things. I mean, the face swap, like, I mean, think about the possibilities, because you can make custom products for people and put, I mean, like if you wanted to make a gift for your family. Oh, like I have a friend, she was having a birthday party and it was punk rock themed. And so she said, Katharyne, can you turn me into a punk? And so I generated, and she's really beautiful. She's like a really beautiful woman. And I got a picture of a blonde punk girl with spiky hair. And she's got blonde hair. And so I put her face into it. And she looked amazing as a punk. And everyone was like, wow, is this you when you were at college? Like, wow, were you a punk? And she's like, no, it was AI.
Well, I remember when you were posting a lot of the AI pictures of yourself, like on a horse, and like I said, if you're, I don't know what computer you're on, but if you're on a computer that has any images or anything you want to share, feel free. I know I didn't tell you that before we
Oh,
went
yeah,
live, that,
I
oh
know.
yeah, you're allowed to share.
I know. I don't. Oh, let me see. Let me see if I can find something quickly. It's like, hold on, let me look through my things. Let's see.
And so for any of you that want to join, she has other Facebook groups, but for any of you that are interested in this free Facebook group with the AI, I will share my screen again so you can see what the group, at least header, looks like. So you know that you are in the right place. But it's called Mid Journey Chat GPT AI and Beyond. You can see it right here if you want to type that in.
What I can do.
And this is her free community that you can join. And there's a lot that you can learn there.
Oh, let me get rid of this sound on there. So actually I can share. Let me see. How do I share? So
below us, I don't, if you might have to escape full screen if you're in full screen. And below us is a button that says present.
Present. Oh, I see it. Okay, there we go. So let me see if I just go to that video.
Yeah, so if you share entire screen, if you decide to change tabs, then it allows you to do that. If you share just a screen, when it opens up a new window, we won't be able to see it.
Okay, so I think if I just share this for a moment, can you see my YouTube picture there? Yep. So yeah, that's my face swapped into this video here. So you can kind of see how that works there.
Yeah.
So that's one example. But yeah, you can put your face into any picture, really. And it works with cartoons and it works with coloring books.
And so tell us about what your new course is and what you're teaching everybody to do. I mean, feel free to share anything about it you would like, because I know a lot of people are interested in making coloring books or books, just anything that costs them minimal out of their pocket for maybe the software, and you get royalties.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, the great thing with KDP, and I mean, we've been working with KDP for a long time with tangent templates and with low content books and medium content books. And what is so cool with, I mean, first of all, KDP is that it's free. It doesn't cost you anything to put books on KDP. So it's one of the nicest sort of streams of income to try, just because it really doesn't cost you anything. You upload a book to Amazon, and basically you get paid a royalty each time your book sells, and you don't really have to do anything else. I mean, obviously it's better to try and market your books to share them where your particular audience might be, but you can put a book up there and it won't cost you anything. So we came back to coloring books just because we know that coloring books are just such a great seller on Amazon. And I think coloring books are great because they make really good gifts is one thing. Like you can make a coloring book about anything that people love. And this goes back to what you said, Tina, about sort of how people love things, like, you know, create what you love. And I think with coloring books, you can really make it about any topic. And because the whole book is about whatever it is you love. So, I mean, I went to an estate sale once. They had frogs. They had a whole attic full of toy frogs, froggy clocks. And
They just collected frogs. Yeah.
everything was frogs. There was a frog telephone. Everything was frogs. Those people love frogs. Midjourney, you can just generate a bunch of frog coloring pages. You could make coloring pages all day with frogs on and put those into a coloring book. And if there are people out there, I mean, my daughter's obsessed with owls. She has a whole owl collection. So, I mean, owls, frogs, you can make a whole book.
Mushrooms are big. A lot of people love everything mushrooms right now.
Mushrooms. I have a mushroom book. I don't have it next to me, but I do have a mushroom book. And the mushroom book I made actually had black backgrounds with white mushrooms on. So it was really fun to draw because it had that sort of psychedelic vibe.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I was going to share the, let me share this. So if I go to share screen and share image.
While she's getting those sharing set up, I will say that when she's talking about having gone to a place where people love, or they loved frogs or collected frogs, I have friends, you know, just your own Facebook news feed is a wealth of information. Because I have a friend that loves everything pigs, everything.
Oh,
Pigs, loves pigs.
Pigs are a good one. I'm sure you found some exciting. I know you've done your fair share of treasure hunting, Tina. Have you stumbled?
Oh, yes.
Interesting.
Oh, like going to estate sales where you stumble upon things. Yes, I can't think of anything really strange that I've stumbled on. Not that frogs are strange, but I have gone to house where people collect things that you would expect, like with big Disney mania. You know, everything in there is Disney, 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 or race cars. People, you know, collect the Hot Wheels and things like that. When I have been out and about. And I was at my niece's over the 4th of July, and she has a whole wall dedicated to all things Batman. Everything Batman you could even think of collect. Funko Pops, the Hot Wheel cars, artwork. It's just a Batman room. She loves Batman. So yeah, people collect all kinds of things.
And I found hobbies as well. Like there was one guy, I mean, the motorbikes was one. And I went to one and they were all about gemstone faceting. And they just had gemstones and crystals everywhere. So people have, and I mean, I feel like you can make a coloring book about gemstones, and you could put, and the great thing is that you're not stuck with just coloring. I mean, you could add in information and teach people how to facet gemstones at the same time. I mean, like I have this book here, the one that I can't show because it keeps but it's actually a spell book. And what I did was I mixed in the spell paper from Tangent Templates, which has it's basically a template of how you make a spell.
What a great time of year to have a spell book.
Yes, and then it has coloring pictures of witches and cauldrons and all. Yeah. So it's like a kind of mix of things. And then I put information in about like ingredients and different holidays, that like Wiccan holidays and things. So you're not limited to just coloring pages. You can add information to your book or guides or tutorials. And with ChatGPT, I mean, you can generate information on anything and just rewrite it and put it in your.
You can make a scavenger hunt book where you could put maps and put people on an adventure. That would be fun.
Absolutely. You know, we used to do geocaching, and there's a geocache site by UCSD, and they had it Harry Potter themed and there's big spiders everywhere. So it's like really legit. It's so fun.
Although I must warn, don't try to plan on making a coloring book about Harry Potter or Batman, because we don't want to have any IP complaints.
No, I would say with generic things. So I mean, you can do the scavenger hunt, you can do frogs, gem fasting, you can do bats, but not Batman. Or you could do generic superheroes. So
yes.
Okay, so this is what we're doing at the moment. So we have this new bundle which is called Imagine. And it's a course, but it's like a lot. There's a lot in here. So one of the problems that we noticed with AI art is that even if you generate coloring pages, and I think you can see all the pictures at the top here, all these coloring pictures. So they look great, but what we noticed is that there's still some gray and shading in them. And also the pictures, when you upscale them, when you make them big, they're not super crisp. So we actually created some software as well that takes the images that you make from Midjourney and actually makes them, so I can show you. It's called Tangent Crystal, and it's really nice because it takes the image from Midjourney and then it takes all of the gray out of it. So I can show you a couple of examples.
That
So
looks amazing.
yeah, this is the image from Midjourney, and then when you put it through Crystal, you can see all the shading goes. So now you can color the image, and I can show you. There's a few examples.
Yeah, it really sharpens those lines.
Yeah, and also you can take out things that are wobbly, like this butterfly is a bit mutated, and that one here. So you can take those out as well. But it works really well with just all kinds.
So it's kind of like it's got a magic eraser ability in it, so to speak.
Yeah. So you can see the difference. It takes all the gray out here, and it gives you. Oh, in fact, the magic eraser. I love this picture. So if you look at the skeleton's hand here, he's got too many arms. And I was like, oh, that's a shame. And actually, I used the eraser here and got rid of it. I painted it out with, and it's just a black and white eraser that lets you.
That was one thing I did notice playing with Midjourney is when you're making people, their hands are weird.
They used to be. They've got a lot better. So version 4 for sure had like. There's like a meme of like AI shaking on the deal and the hands are just like it's got a lot better. The current version 5.2, it very rarely has a hand issue. Sometimes, but most of the time. The one thing everyone's struggling with is witches on broomsticks. For some reason, it does not want to put a witch on a broomstick. But almost, and mermaids are a little tricky. But other than that, you can generate most things that you would want to in AI.
Yeah.
So yeah, the range is huge.
The cost involved for Midjourney, because going into Amazon, for those that are the Amazon sellers, right, you need a decent amount of money to buy inventory to ship in.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing this, of course, your time is your investment, but how much is Midjourney approximately?
Yeah, and so you can start with Midjourney. The basic plan is $10 a month. Now, there are a lot of free or they're not really free, most of them, because you end up having to pay for credits for them. But there's a lot of other services that have free trials, and we've done a lot of research on them. And what we've found is that for the most part, in fact, none of them have the resolution that Midjourney has. So the images are smaller to start with. And also the quality is more like Midjourney version 4, whereas Midjourney now is on version 5.2, and there's rumors of a new version coming out soon.
How quickly they're growing.
Yeah, the quality of Midjourney has stayed way ahead of the others. So we've really focused on Midjourney. The other thing I like about Midjourney is you have a lot more control over it. It's got a lot of versions, and when you talk to it, you have a lot more control over what you're prompting. So I'm a huge fan of Midjourney. There are other options out there, but most people get frustrated with them and they're like, okay, I'm switching to Midjourney.
Yeah, Midjourney has upgrades quicker than the iPhone.
Absolutely. Oh, this last year's it's been update after update, and there's actually some really hidden gems in there. There's a version called Niji, and if you put _Niji Niji on the end of your prompts, it makes everything really cute and anime style and cartoon style. So it has. There's a lot of different ways of using it. So the cost of Midjourney, it starts at $10 a month. That's the basic plan, which is enough to try it out. But really, you're probably going to want the $30 subscription. But
especially if you're serious about trying to do a lot of books.
Right. And I know people say, well, $30, that's a subscription. But you know what? You can generate like unlimited art with that. And so you can literally make thousands upon thousands of images. And so Midjourney has a fast mode and a relaxed mode, and you get unlimited relaxed, which is it just takes a little bit longer for it to make the images, and you can't make quite as many at once, and you get a limited amount of fast hours with your $30. They have higher level plans which give you more fast hours, but at $30 you get unlimited generations. So I think that's absolutely fine for making coloring books. I mean, that's
And
enough.
you can use it for t-shirts, right? Can't you use
Right.
it for
And so
making t-shirts
you
and
can
other
make,
things?
and so what I was going to say, I mean, I used to spend a fortune on artists and illustrators, and
Mm-hmm.
I was hiring so many artists for various projects. And I mean, you can spend $30 on like a couple of icons with one artist. If like $30 hardly buys you anything. We've had people in our groups. One lady said she'd spent thousands on illustrators for her coloring books in the past. So with, I mean, $30, you can create unlimited images. You can use
Yeah.
those for clip art, stickers, posters, t-shirts. Like you can put them on anything. You can illustrate your journals, your books, like
Even
anything.
private label products. I've hired designers to design labels for my packaging of my private label products on Amazon.
That's
I
awesome.
mean, anything that you need designed, you could use Midjourney for. And I've paid more than $30 for design just for one item.
Absolutely. And I mean, the images look great and they are
Yeah.
indistinguishable from like hand drawn pictures at this point. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the pictures look so good that you can create with Midjourney.
And now,
So,
of course, Midjourney's not yours, as everybody knows, but the crystal, what's it called? Crystal what?
yeah. So, okay. So, one of the complaints that people have with AI art is that you don't own the copyright on images that you generate. And this is kind of one of those things that you just sort of accept. Like, okay, I don't own the copyright on it, but I have the publishing rights to it. I have the right to publish it, which is what Amazon needs to see. And I mean, you can send them a receipt. You can send them receipts from the tools you use if you ever have your books reviewed, which happens on all books from time to time. So you do have the rights to publish your images, but you don't own the copyright on them. However, this is very up in the air at the moment. Like there's a lot of sort of back and forth going with the Copyright Office, and what they have said is that if you make alterations to the images, if you add your own content, if you add your own original content, your original content is still yours, and you might be able to transform the images enough to own the copyright on them.
Almost like a
So
recipe.
yeah, so it's one of those things that they haven't quite ironed this out, like how much transformation do you have to do on it. However, what I would say is I think that Midjourney itself is going to lessen the amount of stealing across the board. Because first of all, I mean, people, like, they're not going to steal from you. Like what I find is that with merch, there does tend to be some sort of copycatting. With KDP, that's a lot less because if people want to copy you, they've got to get the whole book and then they've got to copy all the images. And I think actually, like, people have access to Midjourney, and because it's easier to create images, I actually think there's less copycatting going on.
Well, and
So
there's so many specific prompts you have to put in. You can, ask it. When I was playing with it, I would copy what other people were typing in because I was like, oh wow, that's really genius. And they would say, I want it to look like you've shot the photo with like a Canon, a specific model of camera, and it's really fascinating.
do
So
you know
then
people
the person
sell
would also have
prompts?
to know the prompt to use.
Do you know that people are actually selling prompts?
Yes.
There's like a marketplace for prompts. If you have good prompts, I give them all away. I mean, if people join our free group, then I give away prompts every day in there. And I mean, the thing is, it's abundance. I mean, there are prompts to. I don't think I would ever pay for a prompt because you can always come up with prompts.
When you
And
can easily see what everybody else is typing as their prompts anyway, and you can copy and paste them onto a Google sheet for you to save, attach it with an image that gave that. I mean, you could get carried away.
And one thing I would say about prompts is people are like, well, if I use the same prompt as so and so, am I going to get the same picture? No,
Nope.
because it
Yeah.
generates a new image every single time. So a
Hmm.
prompt will give you a certain style. I mean, I think you can see on my screen, like I have a sort of sci-fi city there, and then I've got this girl here, and then I've got the sort of Dungeons and Dragons picture. And then there's like a Buddha. And it's like they're all different styles of image. Now, if someone uses the same prompt, and we actually have a prompt catalog in the bundle.
In the course.
Yeah, which has like 300 prompts, example
Oh,
prompts,
wow.
including all of these ones. And if someone uses that prompt, they're going to get a different image from mine. but it will be in the same style. So it's really nice because you can use that prompt to generate images in the same style and then make a coloring book that all the images are the same style. They all look similar to each other, but are different. And I talk about that in the course, how to maintain a style, but also have variety and find that balance.
And then I haven't gone through all of the course yet, but I figure it's going to be similar to the coloring books. And so when you're making these, are you using it with tangent templates? So you're uploading it for how many pages you want. It's almost like it's done for you when all you do is upload your images. It makes it foolproof. In the beginning, that's what I found hard when I used to upload things to KDP. I didn't have things within the margins and the lines weren't
Oh, yeah.
correct. And it would drive me crazy because I hate the technical. I just want to upload my photo and it just be there.
No, that's why we made tangent templates, because in the beginning people were even just having I couldn't make line paper. I didn't know where to start with making college rule paper. And so the great thing, I mean, tangent templates just took all that headache out, and we added in a cover designer. It's got the interior designer. You can make a book in about 10 minutes with tangent templates. So in the course, we actually include tangent templates in the bundle if people don't have it. And if you do have it, then you can just uncheck it and it will reduce the price for you. But yeah, tangent templates does all of that for you. And we have this awesome feature called Picture Book. And I don't think there's anything else that does this, but you upload your images into tangent templates and Picture Book actually just automatically lays them out into a coloring book for you.
Oh, wow.
So it puts a picture on each page. And you can also put insert pages, because some people like to put black or an image on one side so they don't get the bleed through when they're coloring. So it does all of that for you. It'll lay out a coloring book. So, I mean, I have a walkthrough. So the course itself is huge. I keep adding to it. So we're up to 10 hours of video in there right now. But if people just want a quick method, I have a whole walkthrough that starts with your first prompt through to publishing on Amazon, like hitting the publish button, and it's less than an hour and a half. And we've had people in the course, there's a whole bunch of people said, okay, I made a coloring book in a day. I didn't believe I could do it. One of the gentlemen, he came into the free group and he said, guys, if you don't believe you can make a coloring book in a day, I just did it. And I think he's well into his 80s. He's in his 80s, and I was like, this is awesome. I mean, he's a brilliant.
You make everything that looks difficult easy. And that's what I love about the way that you teach, the way that you show things. You make things honestly. It's like, this looks like it should be so hard to do, and you just make things simple. And then it really empowers you when you're like, oh my God, I just made this book, or it was as simple as all I had to do was design a cover. And that's what's exciting. And how much is this particular Imagine, where you get all of the other things with it?
Okay, so Imagine. So okay, let me go through what you get. So you get the course, which is, so say it's like 10 hours of content and growing. I have several interviews that I'm still editing that I'm going to put in the course. We have the prompt catalog, which has about 300 prompts. We have the prompt builder, which is an amazing tool that Isaac put together with me. And I gave him all these ideas for art styles, for subjects, like niches for your coloring books, all these things. And it turns those into a prompt that you can paste into Midjourney. And so you can make like infinite prompts using the prompt builder. It has tangent templates. It has Tangent Crystal, which is the software that makes your images black and white. And we also have a research pack in there that gives you all the data on all the best-selling coloring products. And it has AI analysis of that data, which gives you ideas for what's going to trend next year. It's like AI predictions based off actual data. So it does a whole bunch of clever stuff there. I got cheat sheets. I got resources in there. Like this, and we have a Facebook group as well. So you get the whole bundle, which is like permanent access to the course, the Facebook group, everything. And it's, if you don't have tangent templates, it's $247, and that's the whole bundle, and it includes tangent templates. If you have tangent templates, then it's $197. So, I mean, we tried to make it a good deal. It's a one-off payment.
It really is. You always over deliver on anything you've ever done. I always feel that you over deliver. So I know nobody would be disappointed if you're interested in signing up for Katharyne's course. I can promise, I've bought everything she's ever made, and she really does over deliver. If this is something that you think you would like, there is a link below that will take you to signing up for this. You can use these tools, this way to do t-shirts. If you've ever been interested in doing merch by Amazon, you can use it for KDP. You can use it for your own private label products on Amazon. I mean, really, wherever you feel like you would need an image or a book. I'm sure you could even use it for people who use like Redbubble that make coffee cups or shower curtains. I mean, your possibilities are endless. If anybody has any questions for Katharyne, I mean, please chime in. I know that we have a few people watching. Some people may already know you and already be in your groups. Others may be people who have never heard of you and are interested in doing print on demand type of money making things. So if you have any questions, please ask. Otherwise, join her free Facebook group. Definitely follow her on YouTube. She's got a ton of videos. I don't even know how many videos you probably have on YouTube, and loads of followers.
We have a really good Mid-Journey one. I made a video about a month and a half ago called
Yes.
I Love Mid-Journey. And it's a long video. It's over an hour.
Good.
And it walks you through how to set up Discord, what Mid-Journey is, how to get your first prompts going. And so if you're curious about Mid-Journey, that's actually a great place to start. It's a free video.
Yeah, I was going to see if I could find that video really quickly because I can.
Yeah, it's called I think I called it I Love Mid-Journey. Well,
yeah, I watched that video. Yes.
It's funny because I was nervous about sort of almost coming out and saying I love AI, because I have a lot of friends who are in the arts, and I do improv theater and a lot of sort of artsy things. And so I was nervous about sort of coming out and saying I love AI. And so one day I was just like, you know what? I do love Mid-Journey. I've been playing with it so much. I love Mid-Journey. So that was.
And this is the video right here, and she has over 8,000 views on that video. It was very good. I watched it when it had came out, and here is her actually talking. I did not watch this one, but this is you explaining what Imagine is. So for those of you who are interested to watch maybe a more in-depth video than we were covering here today, certainly check these videos out. And you can spell her name here. I used to never be able to remember how to spell your name, but here is the spelling of Katharyne.
It's a blessing and a curse. I mean, I've been able to get like Katharyne.com and things like that. But when I was a little kid, I could never get like a pencil with my name on.
You can never find your name on the souvenir when you go to the different places. And Karen, one of my followers, and at the end she's like, I'm finally here. She's the person who's last to the party.
Oh, it's okay. There'll be a replay, right, Tina?
Oh yeah, this is filmed live and it will stay up forever and ever. So a lot of people will watch this later tomorrow, and that's just fine. But I wanted to make sure that they knew about you, knew your channel, knew where to find you on Facebook, and have the link to sign up for your course if they are at all interested in making digital content. Well, I love the idea of digital content.
Yeah, I'm always happy to talk to anyone. I mean, if you want to chat to me, just send me a message on Facebook, or I know you can use support@tangent.rocks. That's usually the best way to get to me, actually. Just email me there, or just message me on Facebook. So I'm always around and happy to chat. And if anyone's got any questions, or just questions about AI, feel free to message me or come and join our group. And always
she's very active in answering questions. That's true. And you know what else I just thought of? Because I helped somebody yesterday who you can sell digital downloads on Etsy. Do you know this?
Yeah.
And so I had sold a couple of artwork items that I had made, and you can put a link to your digital download. So I mean, this is also something that can incorporate to the Etsy sellers out there. I have an Etsy account too. I have eBay, I have Amazon, I have Etsy. So I know people who follow me also don't just sell on Amazon. Some
There
of
are
my
so
followers
many
already
things.
do KDP. Yeah.
Yeah, you can just sell clip art. I mean, you can make clip art in
Yeah.
Midjourney and sell that on Etsy. There's so much you can do.
And then people can use that on their Cricut machines. I mean, truly, truly, the possibilities are endless. So, so my
It's a
Karen, she
rabbit
says,
hole.
yeah, she says, I'm going to watch this from the beginning and binge your page.
Oh, thank you, Karen. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, if there's any questions, go ahead and ask. If there's anything you wanted to say before we say goodbye to all, I mean,
It was
please
so
do.
nice to catch up with you, Tina. It's so
It
fun.
was.
I hope we see each other in person again before too long, because we've had so much fun.
Yes, we do. But of course, without you coming to ASD anymore, that was always our biggest meetup, which
That's
is coming up
true.
this week. So
A bit
I
late.
will be there.
Maybe I don't know. I'd like to get out and about more. So maybe in the
Yeah,
future.
get out of it. Yeah, it's been hard, once everything opened up to get out and about in society again like we once did. It's been slow getting that groove back into how we used to be.
How is ASD these days? Is it still fun
Well,
and
it was
busy?
very different. So after,
Oh.
everything was shut down and opened up again, it was less crowded, but I didn't mind that because it used to be just so like elbow to elbow
Mhm.
and you couldn't talk to vendors. So honestly, the last few ASDs have been pretty smooth sailing, not overly crowded. And, I have liked that part. And I don't need to go as hard at ASD anymore like I used to because my suppliers that I've already met and deal with, I just order from them all year round. It's more going in person just to say, "Hey, how you doing?"
I
And
know
sometimes
it
I
used to
make
be
a
so
few little
fun.
extra. Yeah.
We just go and meet everyone, and we used to do classes there and talk
Yes,
there.
I took all your classes. I broke down crying in one. I've told that story
Oh,
before. It was when I
I
don't know
didn't
that
make
you
you cry, did
remember. No, no, no. It was when I was still a newer seller and I hadn't even been selling a whole year yet. I mean, I was like months into Amazon because I had still been doing eBay. I was months into Amazon, and then I had already been trying to learn how to do bundles. And then I'm there with other people that I knew from your bundles group, the bundles class. And they were just talking about, yeah, my bundles are doing so great, and thank you. And then they're listening, and here, meanwhile, on my phone, looking at my sales, I was barely selling anything. My bundles that I thought were so great really weren't. No fault of my own. I was just new and learning. You're right. We're always a little rough around the edges in the beginning. And I remember just breaking down, crying in your class. I had a meltdown. I'm like, how are
Oh,
you guys doing it? I've been trying so hard and I'm not even making anything. I literally was crying and people
I
were hugging
remember.
me.
Now I remember.
I
Oh,
had a meltdown. I had an absolute meltdown. And then 2 years later, I quit my job and was doing it full time. So I mean, it says sometimes we all have those meltdown moments when we're learning something new, and that's why I always tell people all the time, please don't get caught up when you see people make these posts about I've only been selling on Amazon X amount of months, or I've only been making KDP X amount of months, and I'm making $10,000 a month already. Some people feel motivated by those messages, right? They're like, oh, it's possible. It's
yeah.
possible that I can do this. Then there's people like me where it makes me feel like, what am I doing wrong? What's wrong with me? I've been doing it just as long and I'm negative $43, right? So, sometimes those posts aren't helpful to some people's psyche, someone like myself. So,
Yeah.
um, we all have those meltdown moments. Even those people who post that I've been doing this one day and I'm already a millionaire, they have had a meltdown moment too, or they're lying.
I think everyone has a meltdown from time to
Everybody has a
time,
meltdown.
and I
So
think
that's why
trying.
I never share numbers. That's why I don't do that. I don't think they matter.
Yeah,
What matters is you're enjoying it and you're learning along your journey, whatever your journey is. And I
absolutely.
just, yeah,
And I mean, everyone's journey is different. I mean, it's like I
everyone's
said,
journey is different.
I had little kids, and it's like I couldn't keep up with like the bros who are like, oh, I've got all this money to invest, and I'm doing all this like wholesale, and It's like, you know what? If I had to start with like sitting in the changing rooms in Nordstrom with an
iPad in a dressing room, hoping that it's there
yeah,
tomorrow
it's
if I sell
like
it. Yeah.
you do what you can, and you grow, and
Yeah.
you have your
Everyone's
journey.
starting from a different place. They're coming from a different place. They either have a whole bunch of money in their bank account, or they don't, or they're working a full-time job, or they're a
Mhm.
stay-at-home mom. Everybody's story is different, and it's okay. And your journey is okay.
Absolutely, and it's a journey. I mean, we've known each other a long time. We've been doing this a long time, and it's always a journey. And you never know what's ahead. It's like every day leads new directions. As long as you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, good things will happen.
And one thing I do want to ask for those that may be interested in doing Imagine, talking about creativity, and they say, but I'm not creative. I can't even think of what I would make. I don't even know what I'm passionate about to even make a coloring a book about, maybe. What do you say to that
I
person?
say we've got 2 hours of me talking about niches, trends, how to find just a bazillion ideas, whether I go into so many places you can look for ideas, but I can promise if I can and I don't like sort of saying I will make you rich or I will do this. I don't do that. But if I can promise one thing, you will have ideas.
You will
By
have
the
ideas.
time you've seen this, you will have ideas. But I
And
think
some of your
everybody,
students have become rich, not
some of
all,
them,
were their
some
money,
very
was their
rich.
idea great, but some become very rich.
But you will have ideas, and I strongly believe everyone is creative. And it's funny because we have one lady, and she said, I've spent my whole life being told I'm not creative. I don't draw, or I don't paint, and I don't write. And she said, now I finally feel creative. I knew I was, but everyone told me I wasn't. And it's like, everyone has something. We've all got something inside us, something we dream about, something we love, something we think about, something we imagine. And I mean, that's why I
Mhm.
call it imagine. It's not like, I don't know. I was always told when I was a little kid, the thing I always got from teachers was, Katharyne has an overactive imagination.
Me too.
But there's nothing wrong with that. And I think it gets squashed out of us sometimes as adults. And I think we need our imagination. I mean, Isaac and I go out, we do improv, we 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 live imagination as much as we can, because I think, like, you get one life. It's like you want to go out and have fun, you want to enjoy yourself, you want to
Yeah.
explore, you want to be creative. And I just can't do I mean, I'm not that young anymore, but I can't do the grown up. I mean, yeah, I love school, I love academia, I love all of that, but it's like I can't do the grown up corporate
Yes,
thing.
and didn't you get didn't you just get another master's, or
Yeah,
right?
that was my pandemic project. Well, I had an MBA, but I never really like used it. That was kind of like my backup plan. Of like, okay, if I have an MBA, then maybe I'll always be able to do something. But I didn't really find it worked like that. Like, I moved here and ended up doing eBay because I had a child, and that just doesn't gel with the corporate thing for me. And so yeah, during the pandemic, I did a psychology. My first degree is actually in theater, though. That's like my passion, is like theater and performance. But I did a master's in psychology, mainly to give Isaac some space to work on updates to tangent templates, because I was bugging him so much about it. Like, have we got new features yet? That we were doing this major update on the software, and so I was like, okay, if I keep busy on this,
Then
then
you'll
I can
buy
just run the
less.
Facebook groups and not bug him too much. And also, I thought it was really valuable to what I do, that the more I learn, the more I have to share and talk about. And so, yeah, it was really fun. I really enjoyed doing it, but I don't really want to be a psychologist, but I really enjoyed doing it. So, yeah, I did.
Because you love the way people think and what people like, and it certainly serves you well in your business and talking to people. I know when you were painting the story, and see, that's what I always got out of your courses, is your storytelling allows my mind to see things. And even in the beginning of this video, when you were talking about the man that's moody and what he looks like walking down the street, and what does the street look like, in my mind I was seeing him walking down a street on a day, if this is really what was going through my mind, that it had been raining and he was about to step into this puddle and a car drove by and water splashed him. My mind was already envisioning it, even though you didn't say that part, but my mind was already thinking.
I love your brain, Tina. I love how you
when you're like, what does it look like? It's because it reminds me when I was a little girl, and you know, when your mother or grandmother, whoever it was that read you a story. And it's just like, you know, and I would hear this story and it's like your brain travels with it when you're a kid. And I loved pretend playing. And you would make up the rules as you play. Don't you remember playing with your playmates when you were a kid? Of course, we grew up without the internet. And so we'd be like, okay, well, let's pretend. So we're gonna, you know, live in a mansion and then you're gonna live next door. And right, you're making up stories as you're pretending what you're playing. And really that's all we're doing here. We're still just pretending. We're just
have I got time to show you something? Have I got time to show you something on screen?
Yeah.
Something. Okay. So this is what I absolutely love about like Midjourney and about, in fact, let me screen share. So
yeah, it's down here. I can add it.
Okay. So I want to switch to, can I switch to a different tab? I don't know how to do
Only
that.
if you shared all screen. Otherwise, you'll have to reshare and change whatever you want to be on.
So I'll stop that screen and present and share. Okay.
And see, and that's just the thing is you can pretend, what if we lived in outer space? Like,
Yeah.
what if the world today was just like the Jetsons? And what would that be like? And
Absolutely. So this is the sort of, I mean, I tend to do a lot of things in Midjourney just for fun. So, I mean, I made shoes there. I made bugs, like little, this is just my personal Facebook wall. But I was like, what if you make bugs that don't exist? Like, I love stuff like that.
And give them crazy names. And
yeah. One of my favorite things I did, this is so fun.
I love the vintage stuff. I love that. I love that.
And I thought, what if you had like this old expo where people are looking at technology, but the technology is sort of modern. So there's Kanye
modern, but vintage. Yeah, I love stuff like that.
And I love Newfie dogs. I have a big Newf, and so I was like making robot Newfies. And there's like people in VR headsets, but it's like based on the 1960s. So I mean,
he says, I like bugs. Reno's one of my friends, and he is a bug seller. He actually sells bugs.
Oh, how cool. Oh. So, I mean, for me, storytelling is a huge, in fact, there's another one. So sorry, I don't know how long.
Did you remove yourself or did I do that on accident?
Oh, did I go? I think that was me. Hold on.
Okay. Like, did I remove you on accident?
No. And so there's, I was making literal like stories about me and my Newfie. So I was like, and this was one of the earliest things I did. And these are like, these are all generated with Midjourney, these pictures. And I when I first started playing with it, I was coming up with stories about it all the time and sort of
stories that, you know, a lot of moms are going to, you know, make up stories for their kids. And now you could now make a children's book. And for the parents who have kids and their kids have the imaginations, I mean, you could get them to make up the stories and you could make up the books that go with. I mean, to me, that's what's so exciting. It could be a family activity.
Absolutely. And one of the things people are doing is we talked about face swap. One of the things people are doing is using face swap to make characters in children's books. So you can get the same character over and over again. You generate a picture in Midjourney, and then you can use a character's face. So you can actually illustrate a children's book with Midjourney. It's
and talking about what the first day of school was like, or when I feel alone. And I remember years ago, you did things really centered around kids with special needs, like autism, and how am I feeling?
Yeah, so my middle daughter, she's going to be 20 next week, and she had an IEP through school, and she's on the autism spectrum. So that was like very close to home to me. And like one of the things that I remember I made a T-shirt with like, how am I feeling? And it had,
I remember that.
And one of the things she had a hard time with was recognizing sort of people's moods and seeing people's moods. So yeah, we would make sort of things like that. So it was very sort of personal to me. And again, make things, make things you love. I mean, those are the things. And I think the other thing with making things that feel that you care about is that you want to talk to people about them. You're passionate, and
Mhm.
it makes marketing so much easier, because if you love
Yeah.
something, you're going to be enthusiastic.
And lots of people that are watching, and I know one person watching now has a child that is kind of on that spectrum. And it's like they're brilliant over here,
Mhm.
but then they lack like certain things over here, right? I mean, their minds
Exactly.
can be really, really interesting and intricate.
I think it's called like twice exceptional is
Yeah.
one of the phrases
Yes.
I've heard, which is
Yes.
like you have a very high IQ, but then also dealing with some of the issues that come with autism. And it's different for every person who is on the spectrum.
And then another thing that is also an interesting topic that somebody could, because I've talked about this before. So I know that you did in the past, like midwifery. Is that what you call it?
I was a
Is that the
doula.
right word?
I was a doula for a short
Doula.
time. Yeah.
Yes. And so I have talked about creating things like that on Amazon, gift things for people, and you could really make your own little workbook, if you will, to be an insert into a custom gift or bundle for folks. Yes. So Karen says that her son is on the spectrum, and you were the person I was referring to, but I didn't want to call out your name.
You just blew my mind, Tina. What about a coloring book for doulas that they could give to their clients so they could color in?
Yes, of what to expect and the journey. Look, and this is just it. You talk about things that you know, and then this is how it morphs into something else. And that's what I love. And really the possibilities can be endless. They truly, truly can.
Oh, Karen's a lactation. I think that's a lactation consultant, right? That's really cool.
Yeah. Yes. And see, and that's something that could be a little workbook, a little
Mhm.
journal, especially when the new mom is struggling with, say, breastfeeding. You know, there are
Mhm.
some moms that just, they just can't get the hang of it, or they feel like they want to give up. Having a little guided journal, because in tangent templates you can create journals, you can create
Mhm.
guided journals. That was one of the first books I ever made, was a guided prompted journal. My spacing was off, nothing was centered. It was also one of my first books, and it wasn't that great. The book itself was cute, but I didn't know how to space correctly. And but yeah, you could do guided journals for those moms that are learning to breastfeed. And
Oh, I remember gosh, when I had my first baby, I had a terrible time, and I was in this hospital in Guernsey. I'd planned a home birth. I wanted this hippie home birth. Everything went wrong with my first baby. I ended up 3 days in labor, emergency C-section. It was just a disaster. And I was just crying. And she was tying my clothes up with a ribbon and saying, "No, now you've got to feed your baby like this." And it was the most aggressive thing ever. And then my third baby, I ended up with a home birth, and it was the most awesome experience. I had doulas, and it was so cool. And I think, like, having a coloring book, yeah, Karen's saying a breastfeeding
yeah,
coloring. I mean, I think you need to be relaxed. I think you need people around you who are calming and who are going to help you relax and feel good in that stage of life. I mean, everything around the whole sort of birth and postpartum period. It's like you need some
people
love.
openly talk about these topics, and that's
Yeah.
what's awesome. Now you can find a Facebook group
Yeah.
of any of these type of topics, and that's what's really cool about the world today, is people are more open to discussing things that usually you would have kept private, or that's embarrassing to
Absolutely.
share, or and that's what I like today. And everybody has different feelings about that. Some women might say, oh, I would never have a baby at my house, oh, that's just, I need to be in the hospital, right? But for the women who don't want that, there's a whole community of women just like you. And I do like that about the world today. And going back to prompts for those books or questions to ask, when we were first even doing the books, even when you were first learning to do the books, we didn't have Chat GPT. Now,
No.
now Chat GPT can write the book. Chat GPT can give us these great prompts to use, or topics to use. We don't even have to think.
Yeah, it's such a game changer. And I mean, I don't know, ChatGPT is, I'm like, oh, it writes better than me now. Okay, fine. And I've always like, I used to write plays. I always like sort of fancied myself as a great writer. Well, a decent writer. I don't want to say that. That sounds awful. But I always fancy myself as a decent writer. And now I'm
You're
like,
a very good writer.
ChatGPT, and I'm like, oh, ChatGPT can like write.
Just allows us to be lazy. So a premenopausal coloring book, that's funny. You can have a woman's hot flash coloring book.
Isaac calls it a higher abstraction layer. He says ChatGPT kind of frees you up so you can think more conceptually. And I get what he means by that. I think he's right.
I actually had my first argument with ChatGPT yesterday. I literally argued with it. I kid you not.
That's amazing. Who won?
It did, because it's still, I literally typed into it in the end. I'll just do it myself. Frustrated with it before, but I got frustrated. This is so embarrassing to admit, and this is now on YouTube forevermore. But I was trying to get a list of keywords for a listing that I was building. The keywords it gave me were great, but they bullet pointed it, right? Like numbered it. And so, and then there's repeat words. So when you're doing search terms in Amazon, you don't want to use a word more than once. So it doesn't matter if those words make sense consecutively in the back end. And so I wanted it to pull out the word that repeated itself, right? And so I said, now take the list of keywords you gave me and please remove any words that repeat themselves. And it wrote a story. It used like some of the words and made a paragraph, a story. And I said, no, I want you to take the words and please remove the numbers next to them and any repeat words for an example. And then I gave it an example. And then it just wrote another story again. And so, and I said, never mind, I'll do it myself. And it said, I'm sorry, I don't understand whatever it said to me. But yeah, I actually because I just wanted to finish what I was doing. I actually got in a fight with ChatGPT.
That's the funniest thing I've heard. That's I'll do it
myself.
Well, they're coming for you. When the AI overlords take over, you're on the list now.
They have my name on the list.
Wow.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, so I'm glad you think that was funny, Karen, because look, the real life is what's funny, right? That's why comedians get paid the big bucks to share real life experiences, things that we all probably have done at one time or another, but you're too embarrassed to admit it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, Tina, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And thank you for staying longer, because I know we got carried away talking and chatting.
Anytime.
And thank all of you who have stayed with us this whole time. Yeah. We've had about 9 viewers this whole time. I'm sure lots of people will watch later. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Again, for those interested in Katharyne, the links are below in my description. And if there's anything you want to know, please leave a comment and I will be happy to provide any other links for any of her other courses or anything else you are interested in.
Karen's got a question there. She says, I'm looking at your playlist. What should I watch first? I know nothing at all. Karen, it depends what you want to get into. If you want to make books, we've got stuff on Tangent Templates. If you're interested in Midjourney, watch the I Love Midjourney video, because that's like the complete intro to Midjourney. Hopefully you'll sort of browse and see something in there that's
her free videos are very good.
Thank you, Tina. So yeah, thank you so much for having me. This has been like super fun, and
it is fun.
If anyone needs anything, feel free to message me. I'm happy to chat and respond to any messages on Facebook. My name is spelt so weirdly, you can probably find me on Facebook, or just send me an email at any of the websites. So thank you.
All right, thank you all, and everybody have a great evening. Bye. Oh, my mouse.